I think we will now move on to the panel discussion. So I hope everyone is there. My first question to Dr. Nayan. Okay, we speak about redevelopment. Yeah. So redevelopment. So precisely, are we looking only at demolition and reconstruction, or how can reconstruction shift from demolition-led approaches to strengthening and retrofitting existing structures as a default strategy? Before that, I would only request anybody like Architect Amol, Shivang, Dheeraj, and all the three can add your thoughts after Dr. Nair. Thank you.
First of all, the major problem with the redevelopment right now is that it has become a greed-based rather than a need-based. So that is the major challenge which we are facing. So first of all, any society or a building which goes for redevelopment has to check whether the building can be repaired or not, first of all. And even the government or the other department should also have a system base that whether this building can survive for still 10, 15 years with the what are the what is the current situation. And then only the FSI, whatever is to be given to that particular project or building has to be driven that whether it is required or not. So it is a need based or it's a greed based. So rather now there are a lot of bouquets of FSI which is available and where the greed base comes across where the building is not so much older or also 25, 30 years also building goes for redevelopment because they want a larger home, larger flat and they increase the density on the plot also. So that is the where we'll have to check whether first it is the people themselves have to now check whether their building wants the redevelopment or they want the redevelopment. They'd have to decide the first that thing. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else wants to add anything to this? Okay. So we will move to the next question. This is to Architect Amol. So in high density redevelopment zones, like you also mentioned about Pune and some areas in Pune, so how can urban stress caused by construction activity be minimized through planning and phasing strategies?
Basically, there are four types of strategies we can work out. First of all, we have to understand the project completely. What is the density of the project where we are going to locate it? I mean, population density is very much important. Where the core areas been working, we have to understand the technology of construction. First of all, the scale of the project and what is the project timeline has been given. If it is going to be a high-rise project, we have to maintain some of the things which are we were talking about the pre-ready or maybe a prefabrications or some of the things have to be really precise, timely manner when curated project can be one of the things. Then for the sustainability, we definitely recommending going to have a site challenges like you have to understand the services first of all, what kind of services you are going to looking forward. Like public health engineering, if it is missed from that portion, then it is going to hamper the rest of the society also. So that has to be understood. Secondly, then the third, we have to understand the environmental control measures during the construction, which is very much important nowadays. There are several cases which have happened in Pune recently that during the summer season, there are a lot of pollutions. I mean, particle pollutions are there while you are constructing your building at the time of finalization of project. Then the surrounding is going to hamper. So that these four type of construction strategies we have to understand very much very carefully. And then at the time of your design, you have to understand the integration of smart technologies like BIM integration, BIM software I'm talking about. Smart homes, we have to understand what kind of energy efficiency are going to utilize, like solar and other things, which are going to reduce this carbon footprint. So these things have to be very pre-ready kind of formulation has to be there. And coming days, it is going to be implemented. But nowadays, it has to be very much optimized in terms of application side. We are also introducing some of the mobile applications while you are going to choose your redevelopment projects. You have to understand these are the checklists where you are going to utilize this point. Developer is utilizing only the for the namesake as a your green building certification, or it is actually recycled material. So you can scan it and you can utilize that material. I mean, there are certain things which are going to be in a QR code kind of format. We are going to give them to for that material. So actually, utilize user can identify that material properties simultaneously. So those are the things we are going to integrate. So these are very much important in terms of high density development.
Thank you, sir. Architect Shiva, can I have your inputs on these?
Well, ma'am, so when we talk about development, or so to say, redevelopment work happening with strengthening and retrofitting is, I think, what we were discussing. Lots of buildings that we are planning to sort of, we face this challenge as well. Lots of times we get a query from our clients whether we can build on top of a building or not. The challenge that we face is most of the buildings are predated in the sense that they were constructed before 2016. And most of the construction codes, such as the National Building Code and also the IS codes, etc., for structural design, were revised after 2016, which basically renders lots of these buildings unsafe, and they are not okay as per the present codes. So to construct a building, rather erecting a building on top of that or erecting a structure on top of those buildings is not particularly safe looking at the long-term sustainability of the infrastructure, especially because we see more intense earthquakes coming in now, more intense natural calamities happening, be it rain, be it cloud bursts, be it cyclonic winds, etc. So the codes have been upgraded, or rather updated, to befit such infrastructures being created now. Even for that matter, for example, Delhi and the earthquake zones also being changing. For example, Delhi happens to be in zone 4, and there's a new code in place which is planning to upgrade Delhi from a zone 4 to a zone 5 seismic zone. So the moment you do that, you cannot imagine erecting above existing buildings. There is no option but to pull down the older buildings and come up with newer ones. Yeah.
Thank you for that. So my next question in continuation with this is, like you mentioned about the lifespan of buildings. So how does one determine the lifespan of buildings? And what is it like, after the redevelopment, how do you think the lifespan is going to increase?
Okay, so presently, like we say, so most of the buildings as per the new IS codes are being designed for a lifespan of 70 years. Okay, the structural design is supposed to behave and work well for the coming 70 years, and that is the design life that is considered. So for any kind of infrastructure, especially now when you look at group housings being designed on a monolithic construction technology, there are very low chances of cracks being developed, or there are very low chances of construction quality being very bad. And if the construction work is done well, then something that is being constructed today can very well be fit till the 2090s or similar, because it's 70 years down the line. And I think that is a good enough timeline for a city to have any kind of construction work that's happening. And 70 years later, the demands change, the needs change, the requirements change. And that's when obviously the cities can be remodeled once again. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for this. My question to Dheeraj, sir. So we speak about redevelopment, but when off late we find that a lot of redevelopment projects are increasingly facing delays in completion. What key factors do you think should be considered or implemented to ensure that such projects are delivered on time?
This is the most common question, and every society people ask these questions, and this, questions, this answer, everybody, wants to listen this answer, how to complete the project on time. Like there are various parameters we have to, keep in mind. Start from day one till the OC. The time factor is a kind of things that we have to keep on monitoring and each and every step. For example, if we know why delay happens, first of all, we have to, find out the reasons why delay happens. Then we can, take the precautionary measure. Then we can, have a control on it. First of all, basically, as we are, practicing in market, so basically there are mainly two reasons why the delay happens. Either with the legal issues in approvals and all, or there is a financial issues. So while doing tendering process, we have to put the conditions for the developers that we have to take the approvals at one time, one go before vacating of flat. I mean to say, like, as per the Mumbai, if you consider Mumbai, as per the DCPR 2034 rules, we have, FSI, basic FSI, premium FSI, TDR, and ancillaries. Oh, sorry, fungibles. So government has given provision that you can take the FSI, in part basis. But if the developer goes into the part basis, but after demolition, for example, after demolition of work, developers take the, basic FSI, and after that,
a consumption of basic FSI, he has to purchase the TDR, fungible, then premium. Then at that particular time, after demolition, it requires a lot of money to invest on it. And for example, if there is no investor, there is no, bank finance, or there is some problem in sales, then project stuck up at that particular point. So it is a better way and very useful way to go ahead with this, that obtain the full CC, pay all the government, all the payment required for the government for the approval at one time before vacating the flat. This secure you, because of construction there is no delay, because it doesn't happen that if there is a low supply of materials in a market, there is no labor available in market. These delays, it is just for the 10-15 days and we can cover it. But approvals and finance, if we have secured on day one, then we can control each and every step. And also after, for example, we have taken approval on time and full approval at one time. While doing construction, again, we have to keep on monitoring on day wise, tracking the schedules so that we can control the construction activity also. So, for example, we have to complete the project on time. We have to get the full CC before vacating of flat, then control on monitoring of schedules. So, by doing all these things with the expert PMCs, project will get completed on time.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Nain, you want to add your thoughts onto this?
Yeah, rightly said by Tiwari that this is the major factor where the approvals are to be placed in place before vacating of the flats, the demolition of the building, as well as there should be a proper whenever the drafting of the document is happening from the society point of view, there should be a proper exit, a respectable exit for both the parties if there is something issue which the developer cannot go ahead and cannot complete the project. So there should be a proper respectful exit for both the parties and complete the project. So these are the major things which the societies have to come forward and have to think positively on this factor, where it should be a win-win situation for all the parties, that the project should be completed. The first aim should be the project should be completed in timelines and within the timelines and everything. So this is the only major reason which we have seen in last few years why the projects have been delayed into this factor. Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Thank you, sir. I want to shift my focus from residential to commercial properties for a minute. So this question is to architect Amol. So when, not to commercial, it's to heritage. So when we speak about heritage redevelopment, so it's very important that we preserve the, innate nature of the building or structure. So when we look at heritage redevelopment, how can that balance conservation of architectural identity along with the integration of modern sustainable building systems and performance upgrades?
Nowadays, heritage also is one of the good and an important part of our society. We have to maintain it for the coming generation. That is very much important for everyone. In terms of redevelopment or to keep it alive for the coming generation, the most important part is to retrofit, understanding the defect mapping of the entire heritage structure, whether to be repaired or can be entirely redeveloped. If it is to be redeveloped entirely, we have to understand what category it lies under. There's a category 1, 2, 3, or 4. So if it is to be different category, different material aspects are there, different techniques are there. But most important part, the redevelopment, whatever the material you are going to utilize for it, should be reversible. I mean, it should be, it should not, once it has been done, cannot be redone. So that should not be the part of any redevelopment in the heritage building. That's the most important part of any heritage structure. When we are going to utilize the modern techniques like HVAC, utilization of your lighting system, utilization of your any other mechanical instrument in terms of your development, that should not harm the core layer of that structure. Very much important. Likewise, if we are going to utilize the internal lighting system, that radiation or the light should not reduce the quality of the layers which are previously been restored. That is the core essential part of the renewal. Second part of it is what what we call it the digital documentation of and the analysis of that portion. First of all, we have to document the entire property. Laser scanning nowadays are available. Secondly, your beam-based analysis is there. Then structural analysis simulation is there, and the condition mapping, what I was talking about. So basically, integration of these all systems will take care of the redevelopment of the heritage structure. The most part of the portion is to maintain the skyline of that precinct area where that heritage is located. If we are going to change the facade, so that facade should not overpower to the heritage what layer was earlier. So that there are certain things we need to understand. For example, if you go towards Chennai side or go towards the Oroville side or the French colonies where we have been located, so there are certain rules and regulation has been mandated that elevation has to be restored in that fashion only. Then the rest of the other floors can be designed in a modern way. So the layer has to be, the skyline has to be maintained, the facade has to be maintained. The material has been selected in such a way that should be reversible, that should not hamper the previous layer. So there are certain rules and regulations that to be addressed to redevelopment of any heritage structure. That is what the mandate has to.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else wants to add anything to this part of heritage restoration and redevelopment? Okay, I think no. Okay, my next question is to architect Shivang. So we speak about large-scale redevelopment. So I would like to know, how can architects use master planning as a tool to balance density, open space, and facing logic in large-scale redevelopment projects?
Well, very interesting question. So this is a common challenge that you face whenever you go in for a large-scale redevelopment. We have existing quarters, we have people living on the campus. There are some existing schools to which students are coming into. So whenever what we feel as a practice is, whenever the size of a land sort of goes beyond a 5 acre sort of an area, it becomes an urban design exercise. So yes, you have to cordon off land parcels which are having some existing activities going on, such as a school or a market or a local shopping center on which the people living around it are dependent on. And you cordon off those areas. And what we usually follow as a policy is that first, in the balance area which we can vacate, we construct the newer schools, we construct the newer markets so that these people can be shifted over there. So first provide the infrastructure which is essential to the community at a large and redevelop that. And after that, when the entire land is cleared off, you can plan for the other taller residential sort of a development or a commercial development, so to say. So first and foremost, always redevelop the buildings that you need and erect them in the vacated areas or the open spaces, after which you go in for the larger part of the project, which is the residential or the commercial component. That's how we go about it.
Thank you for your insights. Can I have architect Amol's insights on this?
Ma'am, basically, when we talk about the large-scale redevelopment projects, like if we focus about Dharavi, the recently development is going on. So if you can see the development which is along the coast, I think from the railway side track is been developing right now. So the cluster development is the major solution for this, and understanding the basic need, how much growth you are going with, and what is the density population you are taking care of. So that has to be understood in a very different way. First of all, we have to make a mandate of population density, as well as we have to understand the planning strategy is very much important at that time. What is the rehab or what kind of where are you going to the sales portion? At the same time, you are going to take care of your amenity spaces, entrance, exits, services, locations. So those things are very much important at the time of large scale development. At the same time, you need to understand, how you are going to keep that entire population in and out, because that parking or that much of vehicle you are going to put on the road at the same time. So you have to understand the entry exit as well. So there are certain examples in Pune we have been facing right now in terms of cluster development. But definitely there are certain things we need to take care of in terms of vehicle movement as well as your pedestrian movement. So these things are very much crucial in terms of large scale development projects. Most probably in coming years, the high rise density is going to be, high rise are the solutions which people are thinking of in Pune. But certain things we have to understand: the many floors you are going up, at the same time there is a density is going to scale up parallelly. So things have to be addressed in a such a way where cluster developments or to solution in a very different ways. Like you have to keep it on the part development, then you can go with the phasing. Once you understood the solutions for the parking areas as well as the densities occupancy, that is very much important, right?
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, now my next question to Dr. Nayan. So this is again on sustainable redevelopment. So redevelopment actually causes a lot of urban stress, especially in high density cities like Bombay, Pune or Delhi, where it is happening currently. So when we add more population through redevelopment, so how do you think infrastructure upgrades, water, drainage, mobility, and those things have to evolve? And how can we do it proportionately to the redevelopment? Because we should not be having water scarcity or power scarcity and all of that. So how can that be done?
Yeah, currently the situation where the redevelopment is going on in such a way that suppose there is a traffic, a road is there, it's a two-lane traffic is there, and actually there are the number of cars which are there as per the four lanes. So then there will be congestion. So everything where the water is there, suppose that the construction of the building is 40 floors, but the flow of the water is like only 4 floors. So this is where Dr. Davidkar have already said that, okay, whatever you have to just first check what is the population which is going to come here, what is the footfall which is coming to here. So accordingly that the lift placement, the number of lifts to be placed into such a way, even in the gate where the people now, what we are seeing into the larger towers and everything, there is a lot of queue outside because there are a lot of, you can see Blinkit, you can see Zomato, Swiggy, your house help, your porter, your Borso, everything, whatever kind of all delivery services, everything, they are coming to your residence, which was not 5 years ago. So now you have to be a specific planning for them also. And in near future, what is the 10, 15 years, what will happen? Whether this drone will come into the more picture. So drone delivery, drone, everything will come. So what is that new future ready? Is all will have to think on that part and be a future ready for this all these purposes. Whereas the government also, where they're charging a lot of things for drain, this all water, sewerage and everything, so that the all thing mechanism also should be made a larger one. Even sewage treatment plant, one of the thing is that in a larger scale where you can reuse and recycle all these things. So this all has to be checked, and the proper management has to be done for proper. So there should be no stress around your structure. So you have a better living rather than a better building. So that is what the whole thing is about. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So yeah, my next question is, so they speak about redevelopment. So redevelopment, aging buildings have to be upgraded as one factor. Do you think the race to green buildings is actually influencing redevelopment? That is one question, one part of the question. Precisely, it is to architect Shivang Bansal. And the other thing is, like, how are emerging construction technologies and low carbon materials reshaping the speed and scalability and environmental footprint during redevelopment?
Okay, so I'll first talk about the first part. When you talk about green building certifications, I would not say it is promoting redevelopment, so to say, but it is the kind of freebies that we get with green buildings, especially in the North Indian region, where we get like a 5% or a 7% or a 9% or a 12% additional FSI. It is certainly increasing the greed component, which I think Dr. Nayan was talking about. So the moment you kind of give that an additional incentive, nobody wants to leave that FAR as well because you're getting that for free. And everybody tends to sort of take it into their design and make even bigger and I would say more intensive infrastructures. The investment on actually making a sustainable building is general. And I believe any kind of a large development that's coming up today is having that kind of investment being done, which is basically making the project slightly more sustainable. Because the moment you go more than a 2 lakh square feet of a built up area, environmental clearance is something which is mandatory. And anybody who's constructing a building which is more than that area is definitely complying with basic green building guidelines, etc. Now coming to low carbon materials that you talked about, the second question. When we look at low carbon materials, I would not say that we are uh, taking that in a positive way and actually going ahead with low carbon materials being used in the building infrastructures to the fullest extent. Yes, fly ash bricks are being used. Yes, we are using recycled or rather upcycled brick materials or other materials, so to say. But we should surely try and maximize the usage of such materials, which reduces the embodied carbon in a building and also improves upon the LCA of a building, the life cycle cost of the building. This is presently not being done, and it is not being aggressively pushed for also by the government. So I think that is somewhere we should actually lay focus on and improvise. Yeah.
Thank you. Can I have Dr. Nayan's input to this, please?
Yeah. So rightly said, whatever the materials as per the green building is required or for this whole purpose. So this it has to be whatever the living style or whatever it comes into this has to be the redevelopment comes it with that. But people should go for green building. So a lot of energy, whatever the heat is not there into the room and everything. So a lot of things can be combined into that, and your living style, your energy, whatever your savings, electricity bills and everything can save from that. But same time, you'll have to maintain. The major challenge is that the developer provides all these things, but the society themselves have to maintain all these things, and they'll have to check that whether they can, what they can afford for in a maintenance way in down the line for 10, 15, 20 years down the line. So that is the main important point where they'll have to stick to it. Whatever type of development they are getting, developer will provide them, but they'll have to maintain. So this is what my concern is. Wherever we go for a redevelopment, we say to them, is it maintainable? Then only you ask. Otherwise, it is not necessary. Whatever you can ask is best you can think it is best for your project, but not best for your living or for your standard of living. So that is what you'll have to check, both the things here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This is a common question to everyone. So currently, what are the what building codes are governing the redevelopment of societies in India? Sustainable redevelopment, precisely. Anybody can start. Dr. Nayan, can I have you? Can you start? Can you say something on that?
Yeah. The major issue is that right now, whatever we are facing is only the thing where redevelopment is going on is an extra FSI. The feasibility of the project, the extra FSI, how which can be get more. So that is the only thing which is going in right now. But rightly said, if the construction area goes beyond 20,000 square meter, then there the compliances are required. So right now the challenge is that everything we look at it as on a compliances basis for redevelopment, but we are not looking largely to the what is actually stress or whatever it has been bringing on the building construction, and it is livable or not. So that has not been that has actually been overlooked during this whole redevelopment process. Again, coming back to the first question, the FSI should not be on the basically the whatever is applying today for the old buildings. It should be for the old buildings which needs the redevelopment, but which does not with the buildings which does not need the redevelopment should not get the FSI. So that is the major thing. First, it should go in such a way, and then this all these things, whatever the FSI, the building code, and everything. So majorly, the FSI is the major issue where it can be changed and it can be done into a need-based redevelopment. Where this is the only which I can say right now. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Architect Amol, can I have your views on this and on the building codes and what needs to be done for a proper redevelopment?
Correctly said by sir. I mean, if you mandate this thing, the practice of green building certification is only for the sake of addition of your FSI from 0.7 to 1.2, whatever the FSI is going to add it. But instead of that, mandate of utilization of your sustainable material will give you the additional FSI that will more going to mandate the sustainability in coming future, because many of times there are several things like garden innovations or garden things have been mandated by the corporation, but you need to understand it is to be implemented on site itself. It should not be on the paper, but at the same time, it has to be on execution level. We have to understand. So what should be the oxygen levels can be maintained? What kind of trees or plantations can be mandated? So that will give you the additional FSR. So that kind of rules and regulation will be should be there, which is going to implementation of your actual redevelopment in coming future. Because not only the maximum FSI, but at the same time your utilization of smart materials that is going to be last in coming years. So that may add to the your sustainability.
Okay, one last question to everyone. So I think in the interest of time, we deal with a lot of technology these days. So how do you think technology is actually influencing the sustainable practices in redevelopment, reconstruction, and yeah, both the things?
Well, so definitely technology, especially AI these days, is sort of bringing up with newer tools to sort of design in the urban context. Lots of international software agencies are developing softwares or tools within, say, softwares like Revit and AutoCAD, and which are even integrated with BIM, which can be used to sort of give the input, so to say, that we need, in the sense that what kind of density we want to achieve, what is the height restriction that we have. And there are softwares which are able to give at least some stack model outputs from where you can understand, okay, this is the kind of masking that you can have within the project, and give you like multiple iterations in a very quick time, in a very short span of time. And these sorts of softwares do help us in getting some very quick tests done, so to say. I would not say a complete design scheme, but definitely some very quick tests which help us to understand the site constraints and also help us to understand what works well. So yes, it's an upcoming field and it's an upcoming domain in this space. And I feel that maybe a year or two down the line, it would be more prevalent in our country where people would be using these tools to develop larger schemes. Yeah.
Thank you, Shiva. Dr. Nayan, can I have your inputs?
Yeah, the AI can be used maximum way, whatever right now the technology which we are seeing right now, which was not a 3, 4 years ago. So right now there are a lot of things which can be managed at the society level as a redevelopment basis or a construction basis. The lot of things can be modernized and technology based, so which can be informed to the members of the building or the society or people who they are living there. And again, as I earlier said that the things will come where the drone will already do. The delivery will be done by drone. The taxi will be automated, robotic. So everything, whatever has been can be planned in right now for the future. That has to be planned whenever the construction or the planning is done for the redevelopment. So anything, yes. So everything as a whole industry, the real estate industry has to be ready with whatever the technology which comes in near future, and we have to be future ready today, which because our planning starts today, whereas the people will live after 10, 15 years there. So that is the most important part where we should be also be one step ahead for that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Architect Amol or Dheeraj, you want to add something to this? Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, talking about heritage coming days, I think some of the institutes are working on drone laser techniques where the heritage mapping can be done completely on the precinct area. At the same time, what are the height restriction has been given by the aviation department, at the same time by the corporation development and our archaeological survey of India. Both these are the techniques we are going to adopt in terms of heritage conservation standard development projects, where these are going to give you the encroachment is also one of the big tasks to understand towards the heritage structures, where we are going to do the redevelopment and how much is the encroachment. So that needs to be understood through the laser technique as well as the drone techniques to understand what are the how many we have to take out the projects out of it. So these things are coming up in coming future. Many things are going to come like AI or things which are going to add on to these areas like beam integration and things. So this is going to be a good futuristic in terms of heritage.
Okay, thank you for that.